so much more for corporates to do. I just hope they don't turn a blind eye to these things. I mean, obviously, this show's purpose is to try and get their attention and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
here's the information you need. Like, we can continue to keep knocking on your door, but you gotta listen.
Yeah.
Like, you really gotta listen."
Well, as I was thinking about this, coming to your show and talking, I come from a corporate background, so I worked in corporates many years, and I understand a little bit the indoors strategy about sustainability in a company. Um, when things are going to change for real, this is my
Yeah.
personal view, and when the bonus of a CEO of a company actually has a link towards a conservation outcome. I mean, if the CEO of a big trader, of any of the big traders,
Mhm.
like Bunge, Cargill, ADM, Louis Dreyfus, or any of the ones, if his or her bonus has a link to not having deforestation in their supply chain, that's when things are going to
Yeah.
change because
Absolutely.
corporates, and that will then move into supply chain managers and all the people. It will be like
Actually, hold
a
that thought
chain
because
effect.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask the next question because that's perfect, a perfect segue into the next question
yeah,
because I really wanted to know because there are so many players involved and it seems like you're moving towards that model where actually
yeah,
corporates have the most stake in this whole thing. But
yeah,
I've also encountered sound bites where corporates say, well, it's not regulation yet. Why should I
yeah,
do it? Well, like who do I listen to at the end of the day? So that question is basically what are the specific actions that some of these stakeholders should be doing? And let me just for simplicity's sake basically break it up into three groups. We have the government, we have the
mm,
corporates, and then we have the consumers, which is us,
yeah,
right? And then maybe NGOs a little bit at the side making a lot of noise,
yeah.
but ultimately these three. So you've explained quite clearly about corporates. I don't know if you want to add more, but please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, so I think, as you say, in many places it is not illegal to deforest, right? Like the Cerrado, you actually only need to save 20% of your land as a protected area. So they're not doing anything illegal, but like you were saying, it's morally unacceptable, right? And I think what governments should work, and I think this is what governments should go, is to bring deforestation to an illegality level, right? So really be more, not boycott. We're not for boycotts because that's really hurting the economy of the people, and we don't want that.
Mhm.
But we want to keep the trade conversations between different governments. There was a lot of conversation about the Brazil with the EU agreement, and if there was going to be a boycott. We don't want that, but we want the trade conversations. But we would like for those trade agreements to have very rigorous, you know, legislation around not allowing for deforestation to be in the produce, because otherwise that's what you're importing. You're importing soy and deforestation, right? So yes, I think certainly governments need to be, and then they need to protect and be rigorous on the monitoring. A little bit what we're seeing this year in Brazil. There's no monitoring and there's no going and getting the people that are doing things wrong. So that's for governments for sure. Companies, as we said, act and deliver on this. And I think in the corporates we have different players as well, because you have the supermarkets, you have like the food companies, you have the traders, like I said, and the farmers. I think we need to get the traders much more active and yeah, I don't want to call them out, but a little bit I do, because I think they have such a huge role. They literally control a lot of what's happening. So they need to
Yeah.
step up on this. And as consumers, we need to show that we care. I think we had in Singapore a couple of years ago a movement that was I buy, I care,
Mhm.
like a hashtag. Because yes, we buy. At the end of the day, we are the ones with the power of the purchase.
The palm oil
Um,
scorecard, if I'm not.
yeah, it was a palm oil. Yes. And yeah, I think it was like they would then, if you clicked on it, then it would send an email to the CEO
Yeah,
of one of the companies. So yeah, they
yeah.
got a lot of spam.
Shout out to WWF Singapore for that.
Yeah, a lot. So, but I think that's like what you buy matters. So
Yes.
just using that power as a consumer, not, looking the other way and just having things the same way, showing that you care. It's like, Fridays for Future with Greta going to the streets and raising the voice, and not think that because you're just one person, you won't have the power to change and to have an influence. You do. Talk to others, make it socially unacceptable to be indifferent to these elements.